Well, howdy folks, it's Matthew, your friendly neighborhood technician, making a video for you out of Boise, Idaho. For all of my watchers that consistently watch me, I haven't posted in a while. I've been pretty busy trying to make the transition from working out of my home and garage to a commercial shop in town. So, man, I've just been focusing on that, and it's been a learning experience. It's been a lot of fun, and hopefully here pretty soon I can find a nice little shop to move into. So we'll see what happens. I've been knocking out all kinds of different work left and right, just steadily staying busy, paying the bills and stuff, taking care of the kiddos and whatnot. And so, but I think I've got some time, and it'd be a good idea to slow down and make a video here. I've got a couple GM vehicles here. I've got a Chevy Impala, and I've got a Saturn Vue here. And this video is going to focus on the Saturn Vue, but both of them are having intermittent no-start problems. That's the one thing that they have in common, but both of them have some different symptoms, but they're pretty much GM and somewhat of the same system. So the next few videos that I post are going to be focusing on the diagnosis of this, because it can be an extremely extensive and hard diagnosis. So let's start with this Saturn Vue. We're looking at a 2003 Saturn Vue. It's got the Honda engine in it, and it has the issue of no start, and then it also has an issue of dying or stalling while it is driving. And from what I understand, the camshaft position sensor has already been changed on it, and it's been diagnosed a few times, and nobody can seem to get it figured out. And there's some question as to whether or not it could be the BCM, which is the body control module, or the ECM, the electronic control module. So let's go ahead and focus on the BCM. So if you're a Saturn Vue owner and you're driving down the road and your Saturn all of a sudden stalls out, and it continues to stall out over and over again, you're gonna end up getting into a diagnosis whirlwind, diagnosing camshaft sensors, crankshaft sensors, body control modules, engine control modules, wires, you name it. So if this happens to you, one of the things that you want to do is go ahead and take the time, set a day aside, and get all of your inner coverings removed. Now, let's take a look at some of these here. Let me unlock it. Underneath your dashboard, you are going to have this plastic covering, and you're going to have two bolts in there. One's going to be inside of your little pocket, and the other one's going to be underneath there. And you're going to remove those bolts, and once you do that, go ahead and just reach, and it's just going to pop out. You're going to have to use a little elbow grease, but take your time so you don't break that plastic, and pull this cover off. This is going to give you access to everything that you need to test underneath the steering column and the dashboard. Next, you're going to want to go ahead and remove your steering column covers, and you're going to want to do that because you're going to want to have access to your ignition switch back here and the electrical connections for testing reasons. And in order to do that, underneath it you'll see three little screws or bolts, and just get those removed out of there, and then you'll be able to pull those plastic coverings off so you can have access for test reasons to the ignition switch. Then from there, all you have to do, this piece here that has your window controls and other switches, if applicable, yeah, that word, sorry, any other accessories, all you have to do is get your fingernails or your fingers or a screwdriver or a little pry bar underneath it and just pop it up. And you'll see here it has these clips. So there's nothing that bolts that down, screws that down. It's just these clips. Give it some love, pop it up, and then unplug everything and move it off. Plug everything back in so you can use your windows and stuff while you're working, and you can just let that sit to the side and you're good to go. Once you have this cover off, then you'll have access to 4 screws Okay, the top screws, you can't miss them. They're gonna be right in there, see? All right, and so you're gonna remove the top screw and the bottom screw on this side, and then there's gonna be one on this side, and that's what's gonna allow you to stick your hand underneath here and pop this cover off. And again, it is just snapped in there real well, so give it a little bit of elbow grease, but have some patience and pop that cover off. Once you do that, what I go ahead and do is, instead of unplugging all of my controls and stuff, is I just unbolt the brackets from the cover. As you can see, it'll be 4 little tiny bolts, like so. And then I just kind of set this stuff aside. I try to leave everything plugged in as possible. And then from there, you're going to find your BCM is going to be sitting back down in here. Go ahead and pry, fight, pull it out. And once you have it out, leave it plugged in, but go ahead and pop the side tabs so you can go ahead and dissect it and open it up. Because now we can use our multimeter and we can test things as this vehicle is running. Okay, so that's a lot of work, but this is necessary to properly diagnose this Saturn. Also, on the passenger side, where your left foot is, go ahead and remove that panel, because this is where your fuses are for your BCM, your anti-theft system, and all that other stuff. And then while you're at it, go ahead and pop the hood. And get, trying to do this one-handed here. Go ahead and pop the hood and remove your covering for your fuse box. So now at this point, we have access to every area that we need to start testing and checking using the process of elimination, build in a fault tree analysis. So basically, on a piece of paper, you're just going to start naming all the systems. We have the ignition switch, we have the body control module, we have the ECM, we have all the fuses and relays, we have all the wires in between. One of the first things that you can do is, and the goal here is to duplicate whatever happened to you while you were out and driving. So again, you wake up, you get in your Saturn Vue, you start driving down the road, next thing you know it dies, and you got to sit and wait 15-20 minutes to try to start it again, then it dies, and it just keeps doing it over and over and over again. Or it drives just fine, but then you get to your destination, go inside, let's say the grocery store, come back out, all of a sudden your Saturn Vue won't start, and you got to sit around for 20-30 minutes, maybe even longer, before it'll start again. And you've already gone ahead and changed things like camshaft position sensors and whatnot. At this point, it's time to go ahead and open this up like this and get ready to start testing everything. Now, it could be the BCM, it could be a short in the system, it could be a bad sensor, it could be a bad switch. While you're here, go ahead and start doing things like grabbing wire harnesses, and don't go crazy, but just start wiggling them. See if something happens. Okay, especially down here. See where those orange wires are? That's your ignition. Grab that. Wiggle that around. Okay? Tap on while it's running. Go ahead and tap and wiggle the key. Do things like tap, wiggle connectors. Go up front, wiggle your junction box around a little bit. Grab relays and just wiggle them. See if anything changes. If it does, that could be a good indication that there's a short somewhere in the system, or there's a loose wire. If it doesn't, no big deal. You just keep moving forward. So it's time to get out the multimeter, your test light, and then also your OBD2 computer, so we can start diagnosing this. But everything that I just showed you here honestly is necessary to properly diagnose that BCM, and basically the no start and stalling condition for the Saturn Vue. Give me a few days and I'll get the next video posted showing the actual diagnosis of it, which I'll do my best to show like values and voltage and ohms and all that other stuff while testing. And I'll keep moving forward, and I'll just make a folder and make a whole series out of this. All right, folks, if you have any questions about anything, honestly, whether it's a Saturn or a Subaru or a BMW, just give me a holler. I'm always here to try to help you. You Saturn owners, shoot me an email and let's put our heads together and see if we can't help you get over this issue. And I appreciate everybody for watching. This is Matthew, your friendly neighborhood technician, signing off.